Good morning, everyone. I am Bhavini Makwana, and you're listening to BHF Radio. With me, I also have
Paresh. Hi, how are you?
Hope everyone is well. Happy Easter. Hope everyone's looking forward to Easter. And oh my God, we're at a point where the rule of 6 has come into play. So those that have been able to go out and meet family or friends in a public space, remember it is still outdoors and up to 2 households only, a maximum of 6 people. But you know, it feels positive, it feels we're going out there. Hopefully, you know, it doesn't have any detrimental effects. And then the April the 12th is the next milestone. So yeah, something to look forward to. It's been such a glorious weather this week, and I hope it's been sunny and warm for everyone. It certainly has been for the last few days earlier on in the week in London. Yeah, happy Easter for tomorrow, Easter Sunday. How many of you will be indulging in chocolate mini eggs? I know normally would have treasure hunts, you know, but you know, we could be creative, create treasure hunts in our home. Today we are talking about stress. Reason being, you know, it's something that can affect anyone at any time, and sometimes we may not even be aware that we're feeling stressed. Stress can cause so many conditions to heighten. It can affect our mood, our mental health, our physical health, and it's not something we really talk about or admit, or you know, we just put it to the back of our mind and think, oh, doesn't matter, you know, I can still do this, or I'll just do one more thing. You know, we're not really good at taking care of our own self. So we're talking about this because April is Stress Awareness Month. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to discuss stress. What exactly is stress? And you know, if not managed, how it can affect. So it's here to raise awareness, but actually to give you some guidance and tips on how to manage. So joining me today will be Sandeep Saib, and she'll be joining me very, very shortly. She is a mental health advocate. She's the co-head of Happy Heads, and she also volunteers for the Samaritans, as well as many, many other things that she does. So she really promotes discussing stress and mental health awareness. So she'll be here shortly. Before we bring her on, let's listen to our first track for today, which is Jogi or Jogi, sung by Lata Mangeshkar and Kishore Kumar, taken from the film Lakon Mini Ek. And here it is.
तेरा ही तोता कहता है, एक दिन मैं राजा बनूंगा, तेरा ही तोता कहता है। जोगी ओ जोगी, हाथ में मेरे लिखा है, एक दिन मैं राजा बनूंगा, तेरा ही तोता कहता है। ला 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 ला। हो बलवान तेज चंदर, यारो बनता है वो सिकंदर। सूरज हो बलवान तेज चंदर, यारो बनता है वो सिकंदर। पावरफुल हो ग्रह तभी तो कर लेंगे माल अंदर। जोगी जोगी ओ जोगी, आग में मेरे लिखा है, एक एक दिन मैं राजा बनूंगा तेरा ही तोता कहता है, एक दिन मैं राजा बनूंगा तेरा ही तोता कहता है। मिटने को हर चीज मिट जाए, हाथों से रेखा न जाए। मिटने को हर चीज मिट जाए, हाथों से रेखा न जाए। आज मुट्ठी में है किस्मत अपनी, फिर तू क्यों घबराए। जोगी जोगी ओ जोगी, भाग में मेरे लिखा है, तेरा ही तोता कहता है, एक दिन मैं राजा बनूंगा तेरा ही तोता कहता है। ला 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 ला।
Welcome back, everyone. That was Jogi or Jogi from the film Lakonmi Ek. Before that track came on, I mentioned we are talking to Sandeep Saib about stress awareness. I have got Sandeep who's joined, and if anyone does want to message or get in touch, please do on the usual email or by the BHF radio app into dedications, and you can send in your messages through there. Good morning, Sandeep. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. It's been a nice few days, good weather. So yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the weather's getting absolutely lovely. I think everyone's getting out there, and with the restrictions slowly sort of easing, you know, we're slowly getting back to normality. So it's always good, especially when the sun is shining.
Yeah, and this long bank holiday weekend, so looking forward to just resting.
Oh, tell me about it. Yes.
Welcome to BHF Radio. First, before we get into our discussion this morning, Sandeep, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, hello everybody. Hope everybody is well, first and foremost. I know everyone's going through trials and tribulations, so I'm hoping you're well and family are all good. My name is Sandeep Saib. I am a leading mental health advocate, philanthropist and public speaker. I'm also the co-director of Happy Hits, which is a non-profit mental health organisation. And I also wear many other sort of mental health hats. So I am also Rethink Mental Health Charity Committee member, a Time to Change champion, volunteering also for Samaritans and Young People's Mental Health Charity as well. And I also do a spot of mentoring, supporting my former university through their mentoring program. And all of this I've been involved in for over numerous amount of years now, so a good mix. I personally have had lived experience of mental health. I was diagnosed with anorexia nervosa, body dysmorphia disorder and obsessive compulsive disorder from July 2012, and I also attempted to take my own life on the 29th of August 2014. So fast forward post 2014, definitely in a better place, and like I mentioned, threw myself into advocacy work and trying to help others and supporting individuals out there, especially in the Asian community, around the taboo issue, which is mental health, and trying to challenge the stigma and discrimination around this topic, and not for it to be seen as a taboo topic, but normalized in our society in across the world, really. So that's me in a nutshell, and it's great to be here. So thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, no, thank you. And exactly what you say, you know, the topic being taboo and stigma attached around it. And, you know, by us talking more, like, you know, raising awareness of it, it just it just helps. So, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
And, it is prevalent any time of the year, but more so we're raising awareness of it as April is Stress Awareness Month. So what is stress? Let's take it right to the beginning. Like, what is stress?
I think, stress, it's one that, people just don't really know that bit more about. They know they're going through it, but they just can't express it sometimes, and some people struggle. But I think stress for me, if I was to define it, it's really, I guess, a reaction to, something that you're going through in life, whether it's something related to emotional or mental pressure. And what I mean by pressure is where to you it feels like you're losing control over it. You're losing control over something in your life that adds to that mental and emotional pressure and strain. And then that, I feel like that leads to, you feeling all different types of emotions. So anxiety, feeling fearful, and all these different things. And obviously your body is going through so much as well, and so much adrenaline as well, and releasing all these hormones. So in short, for me personally, it's when you, I guess, in life, highs and lows that you have, it's a moment in your life where you just feel like you're losing control over something, whether it's emotional or whether it's mental, and you just don't have that control over it anymore.
Yeah, and what signs or symptoms do you think people can look out for, either, I don't know, in themselves or even people around them? Because sometimes it's harder to look at your own self and think, oh, I'm feeling a little bit stressed. So what typical signs do you think associate with stress?
Gosh, yeah, there's many. And bearing in mind, everyone is individual. But the most common signs, I think that's what we want to stress here, that obviously not one size fits all. Everyone is individual and work in different ways, and prefer different things. But I'm just going through my personal experience with stress and what I've seen in myself and others around me, such as my family members. So signs such as you're easily irritated. You have more frequent anger outbursts. You feel very restless. And you do have, I think some people even have trouble sleeping, when they have stress so much, whether it's to do with work or coursework deadlines, whether you're a student or an employee, anything like that, even at home, you might, feel that you're not getting enough sleep, and you have all these thoughts racing through your mind, and it's that constant worry as well. I sometimes even have problems where I struggle to remember things and just concentrate on the task list and what I need to do on that very day. And some people make, I guess, rash decisions when they are heavily stressed. So there's a lot of psychological and emotional signs of it. But yeah, just making, I guess, bad decisions, or things like that, I think. And going briefly back to physical symptoms, I would say things like high blood pressure, and high cholesterol, increasing that, chest pains, aches and pains everywhere, things like even stomach problems and digestive problems. And they say, going back to obviously the gut plays such a huge role and is often neglected. And the gut plays a huge role with people that are highly stressed. And in mental health in general, the gut plays a huge role. And it's just making sure that people know about that it plays such a huge role. It really, really does, and not want to, oversee, really. But no, just those are some of the symptoms. Yeah, some of the signs and symptoms that I've seen in myself and in others, and people that I've spoken to as well along my journeys.
Yeah, so it's clear that it's not just a one kind of thing that it can affect. It can affect your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, and even just touching upon your body, the organs, how it can affect organs. So yeah, that's very interesting to learn. In terms of stress, so we talk about, you associate it with adults. I mean, can children or teenagers feel stress? Can you pick up signs from them? I guess anyone can get stressed.
No, I completely agree. Absolutely right. Anybody can get, can encounter stress. I mean, exactly the same as mental health and physical health, to be honest. If everyone endures sort of physical pain, whether it's a cut or a bruise or an injury, and in conjunction with mental health, when they go through depression and anxiety and all these different things, it doesn't discriminate. And that's why I want to stress the fact that mental health, physical health, and also stress, it doesn't discriminate, and it can affect anybody at any age, at any point in their life. So for a young child, they might be going through it but don't know what it is. So there's a lot of that knowledge, that understanding, getting on their wavelength, trying to understand them. And there's so many tools and resources out there now, and schools are doing that to support. But really for children at a young age, to learn more about stress, and having, what would help is to have mental health on the curriculum, and so they can learn more about stress at a young age, and for them to be equipped with the tools and techniques to know when they are just not feeling, in the top, at top form, to be honest, and for them to recognize that and accept that, but then finding a way to manage it is quite key.
Yeah.
But no, it's quite hard to, I guess, find the source of it, find the reasoning behind it, and so forth for young kids, because they are young kids. There's so much they need to learn more about and explore, and obviously they're developing. They're still developing and learning, and their mind is growing. Complete contrast to, I guess, adults, and obviously elders. They experience stress. I mean, we all go through different life experiences, don't we? And we always have highs and lows. That's what life is about. It also brings about different levels, different types of stress, and it gets complex. It really does. When you get older, when you become an adult, and beyond that, really. Yeah. So no, it can affect, to answer your question, it can affect anybody.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Okay.
It doesn't discriminate.
Stay with me, Sandeep. We're going to go to our next track, and let's pick this up after. The next song we're going to listen to is Tat Samandar from the film Vish Matwa. So here it comes.
La 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 COVID-19, especially the new variant, is spreading quickly across the country. This puts many people at risk of serious disease and is placing a lot of pressure on our NHS. Once more, we must all stay home. If it is essential to go out, remember, wash your hands, cover your face indoors, and keep your distance from others. Vaccines give clear hope for the future, but for now, we must all stay home, protect the NHS, save lives.
Welcome back, everyone. That was the song Sat Samandar. You're listening to me, Bhavini, on BHF Radio, and I am joined by my guest this week, Sandeep, and we are talking about stress because April, it's Stress Awareness Month, and we've just been discussing what stress is, the effects it can have on our physical, emotional, and mental health and well-being, but also it can affect anyone, adults, teenagers, children. So Sandeep, welcome back. What can people do in terms of, if they think they've got signs of stress, what could be the first point of call?
I think first and foremost to recognise it, to be aware of what you're feeling and being in tune with it and respecting it. So I think when someone is going through stress, a couple of things that I do, just a couple of tips, is to have a journal, writing down those thoughts. How is it making you feel? Jotting down those thoughts helps, so that you're recognizing them and it's out in the open in one way, whether you want to write it out or verbally say it. I would obviously opt for the latter first. I would obviously say when you are feeling stressed, when you are feeling worried, whether you are feeling any emotion, any thoughts, to talk to somebody that you can find in ASAP. Don't leave it a week later. Don't leave it a month later. Do it as soon as you can. So I'll definitely champion talking about it, talking about how you're feeling. What's making you stressed? What are the red flags that you're feeling, and how can I support you? So you've got to really, I guess, be open and sharing that and be able to talk that out and talk about it as much as you can. Then I would say journaling. Some people do struggle, expressing how they're feeling, stating how they're feeling, being real. It's a bit of a challenge for people. I know that because I've been there, and I've always find that, writing it out rather than verbally, writing it out. Not a whole essay, just a couple of words, key words, being in the now to just express how you're feeling in that very moment and writing it out. So I'll definitely say talk. I'll definitely say journaling. And other ways to manage stress, I think, is also breathing. That's the third tip, I would say. But breathing properly. And we really do take breathing for granted. We really, really do. So I would definitely advocate doing the 4-7-8 breathing technique. So that's where you can do it anytime, find a relaxed environment, whether it's in the garden, being one with nature, or in the park, or, in a different room, not your workspace, for example, and just breathing in for 4 seconds and holding for 7 seconds and exhaling for 8 seconds slowly. That is one that I will definitely advocate to do quite frequently during the day, even when you're not stressed, because with stress, it's an interesting one, because you don't know when you're going to get it or when you're going to feel it. When it's coming, where you can sort of preempt it. And at that point, when you feel it coming, that's where you've got to intervene early. And all these tips do help with that, for you to recognize it, for you to acknowledge it, and then for you to do something proactively about it. So those are the 3 steps, 3 tips. So I would say, like I said, talking, and then secondly, journaling, and thirdly, breathing. I think the 4th tip I would say to manage stress is to think also to find something that you like doing, like a hobby or an interest.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think, like professionally, I work in a law firm. I've been a marketer for over a decade, and with this job and with any job that people do have, and as an example, comes with so much stress, it's unbelievable that you just find it unbearable. But to remove yourself from a situation, switching off, putting in a habit, making a routine for you to do that, but thinking about the importance of self-care and putting that into practice is key. So self-care for people can be defined in different ways. Bearing in mind we're all different, aren't we?
Yeah.
So some of the things I can put out there is, colouring, art, walking, yoga, meditation. There's so many apps out there, exploring that. But find a hobby or interest that looks after your self-care and that you enjoy doing. Not anybody else, but you enjoy doing. And I know there's so many free stress apps out there as well.
Okay.
That helps with breathing, that helps with meditation, that helps with all these different things that I've mentioned. You can even do journaling through an app. So there's so many, resources and help out there. But those are the couple of things that I could think of in terms of how one can manage their stress that bit better, I guess.
Yeah, no, great tips. And, it's so important what you say about, do something that will help you, that you enjoy, because there's no point doing something that other people enjoy but you don't actually, because it's not going to be something that you're going to continue for long. In terms of if people wanted to seek professional help, what kind of organizations or charities do you think are better to help someone?
I think stress will fall underneath, because that can also, I think stress, there's different types of stress, isn't there? There's stress that you can handle on one hand and you can deal with, it's short term, whereas stress can also go into the long term category, leading to severe mental health problems, So I think it falls into two categories in that sense. And there's so much support out there for those people that are stressed, whether they're in the short term, whether in the long term, wherever they are in life and wherever they're at in their journey. There is always help out there, and there are resources. And some of the resources, like I've briefly mentioned in the tips, are apps, online apps, on Android phones and Apple phones. There is an array of different apps, and it's definitely worth exploring. There's two that crop to my mind. One being Headspace. It's a meditation app, and it's free to download. And the second one is Hub of Hope. Now, Hub of Hope is more of a directory of local mental health services in your area. So it does the hard work for you in that sense, and it's all in that app. So definitely exploring apps that are going to be beneficial to you, and accessing the right app for you is key as well. So those are two that I mentioned, but there are so many others. There really are. A majority of them are free. So I definitely do recommend exploring apps as your first port of call for resourcing and obtaining information and help for you for your stress. Secondly, I would say desk research, just researching in Google or Microsoft Edge, just typing in the word, stress, help for stress or advice for stress. I promise you there will be so many resources out there and so many charities that do just that line of work and specialize in this area. And just to give an example, just yesterday I was actually on the phone to a company that were building a stress toolkit, and their business is all about stress and managing stress. And it seems unimaginable if we were talking about this 10, 15 years ago, that there will be stress-focused companies that are building these toolkits and that are very technologically advanced. You know, you won't see that years ago, but now there are firms that specialize in this area. They see it of high importance. So there are companies out there that help, you know, that are there, whether they're on the corporate side, whether they're on the charitable side. People are out there to help and focus on stress and what it's all about. You know, where did it scientifically originate from? And on the back of that, you know, finding the help that you need. Some of the other organisations that I know of are just some of the mental health organisations and charities. There's Samaritans. So Samaritans is definitely a great link there. I am a support volunteer for Samaritans for my local branch, and I hold them in high regard, guys. So I definitely do recommend giving them a call. The number is 116123. So you can call them 24/7 if you're going through any problems. So not just mental health problems, any problems. So whether you are stressed or stressed about a deadline or too much work, or you're struggling to keep your head above the water, or if you are going through or know of people that are going through hardships themselves, you can always talk to Samaritans. Give them a call. Yeah. So that's definitely one. I would also recommend looking into Rethink Mental Health Charity, Mind Mental Health Charity as well. And I also would like to encourage you to look at your own local council website, because I can promise you there are going to be quite a few useful links for you on there, and it might be worth, like I was saying, just doing desk research around this, and more importantly, finding the right help for you.
Yeah,
and that can take a while, and there's no problem and no harm in that, but finding the right help for you is going to benefit you in the long term.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's great that there are many organizations, thinking about mental health awareness and, with regards to personal circumstances, but of course things being heightened with the pandemic. So yeah, it's definitely on a lot more people's agenda and radar. We're going to go to our next track. We'll take a short break and come back and continue the conversation. The next song is Tu Cheez Badi Mast Mast from the film Mohra.
मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त नहीं तुझको कोई होश होश नहीं तुझको कोई होश होश उस पर जो बन का जोश जोश नहीं तेरा कोई दोष दोष मदहोश है तू हर वक्त वक्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त आशिक है तेरा नाम नाम आशिक है तेरा नाम नाम दिल लेना देना काम काम मेरी बाहें मत थाम थाम बदनाम है तू बदमस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त जगमा बनी जगरे मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त मस्त तू चीज बड़ी है मस्त
Listening to the one and only Bhavini Makwana here on BHF Radio. This is the best Saturday morning show on the planet, so keep it locked.
Welcome back. You're listening to me, Bhavini, on BHF Radio, and I'm joined by Sandeep, who, is sharing great advice and tips on managing and reducing stress. We are talking about stress because it can affect anyone at any point, and sometimes you may not even be aware of it. It can affect our mental, emotional and physical well-being. So Sandeep has just shared great resources, tips and techniques, journaling, breathing. So it's been really fascinating, and thank you for that. Our audience here at BHF Radio is predominantly Asians. I wouldn't say everyone, but predominantly. Do you think as Asians, we don't really admit or talk about stress? And in your experience, do you think that is true?
I think it is true, definitely, but it really depends on the generation. I think this is purely going on from personal experience, but the older generation will struggle. They find it a weakness. Sometimes they find it hard to find the words to communicate how they're really feeling, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression. They just struggle. They really, really do. And I think that struggle then leads them, it's off-putting for them. And at that point, they just don't want to talk about it or think about it. They move on. They're very good in brushing issues, problems, everything like that underneath the carpet. They've got in their mind, they've got other priorities: housework, cleaning, looking after kids, doing the essays and so forth. There's different priorities, and I feel like they purposely would or had this need to brush underneath the carpet. They don't think it's of a priority. They don't want to worry others. Yeah. And we are, in our Asian community, very heavily, have this relationship with our family. Now, those that live in big households, such as myself, it's hard to even dare say anything's wrong with you. Yes, celebrate the good and talk about positive things. But when it's to do with anything that's not so good, that you're feeling low, that you're feeling stressed out, that you've had a rough day at work, or you didn't meet someone's expectations, all these different worries, you don't want to talk about that. How dare you talk about that? It becomes a lot of how dare you, and if I say it, I I'm seen to be weak. You know, I'm fearful of that. Then you've got the younger generation, and given what we've all been through, and knowing what they've seen in the media and what they've seen in their own family and in the Asian community, they are, I guess, more, I guess, outspoken.
Yeah.
Most of them, you know, that they're not, I guess, afraid to. A minority are not afraid to just say it. You know, say what's on their mind. Giving that friend a call. You know, texting that friend or so and so forth. But I guess they don't hold back. Some of them, and I guess it probably is for different reasons. You know, they've probably seen the elder generation holding back, that they don't want to do that. They want to share, they want to talk. And I guess in one way it helps that we've got things like instant messaging, WhatsApp, social media, and all these different communication channels. So communicating becomes, I guess, easier to do if the platform is easy to manage and navigate through. And the younger generation are equipped with that technology now. You know, in this generation, the millennials, for example, they find it easy, I guess, to communicate, and they're more, I guess, knowledgeable in that sense, and in that world, and using it to their advantage to tell people how they're feeling. So stress, depression, loneliness, whether they're having a good day or a bad day, is now at the click of a button, or putting a few words in a text to convey how they're feeling, using emojis, all these different things. So there is that stark contrast between the older and the younger generation. There is. And in an ideal world, in a real ideal world, they are, you know, it will be great for those two worlds to come together, for them to learn from one another. And that can only happen once they start talking more directly to one another, bridging that gap as much as they can, and knowing that it is okay to just talk about your feelings, and know that it's okay to just express and to be honest and real and raw, and leave nothing unsaid, really.
Yeah.
And what I was saying before, just saying it there and then, not waiting for a week or not waiting for a month. But I feel like those two generations need to be talking to one another more, for everyone to feel comfortable to talk and feel accepted and be respected. And like I was saying, in our Asian community, you're not just dealing with a family now, you're dealing with the extended family, you're dealing with family members that are overseas as well. You know, it becomes more of a much more of a challenge. And this is why I think that's one of the things actually that stops people from talking, because they know that everyone else is going to know. You know, it's a shame, it's a burden. You know, he or she won't be married. You know, he or she will be tainted and be a burden in the family. All these different labels start to emerge. And it's that fear of those labels and being attached to it, you know, in a negative way. So there's lots and lots of reasons, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's something that just
so
comes to mind is that, you know, our parents, our grandparents, like, you know, we see them doing like 5, 8, possibly even 10 different roles all at once. And I, you know, something that just comes to mind, like, say no. Sometimes when you just don't have the capacity to do something, learning how to probably say no. It's such a small word, but it's the most scariest for some, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just to give an example, you know, daughter-in-laws and, you know, son-in-laws and all these different, I guess, these roles and responsibilities, like you were saying, that we have in an Asian family household, it's not easy. And we've got to juggle, we've got to balance and spin a lot of plates. We're playing different roles, mothers, daughters, sons, all these different things. So, no, completely agree with what you said. It's so hard, so hard to say no to things. doesn't exist in the Asian community.
No,
It's
yeah.
always a yes, yes, yes. You know, I will do this. I will help out with this. I will pick, you know, grandma up from, you know, the temple. I will make dinner tonight. And it's all these different things, you know. So I completely agree with you, but it's not easy.
No.
It is not easy, and we're so ingrained in this culture of ours and the traditional way of doing things, and it's going to be quite hard and challenging to change that mentality.
Yeah, and I think just learning that, you know, if you can't do something, you know, don't feel bad if you have to say no. You know, perhaps I can't do it today, or I can't do it in this moment in time, but I will get around to doing it later, perhaps tomorrow or over the weekend, whatever it may be, and not feeling bad, not feeling guilty, because I think, you know, many people feel guilty for saying no, and please, please, please don't feel guilty. Like, it's so important for your own health. Sandeep, I want to inform our listeners, you know, if they wanted to learn more about what you do, or any, you know, how people can find out about the work that you're doing. Let's go to a track, and then we'll come back and share how people can learn more. Our next track is Neno Me Sapna from the film Himmat Wala.
देखे जवानी के रेले देखे हसीनों के मेले देखे दिल पे हो तू ही छा गया अरे नैनों में सपना सपनों में सजनी सजनी पे दिल आ गया ये सजनी पे दिल आ गया खिला खिला चमन तू जवानी की कली तेरी खुशबू ही मेरी सांसों में पल पल है पली बाहों का सहारा मिला तेरा जो इशारा मिला मुझे जग सारा मिला मैं तो हो तुझे पा गया
सजना पे दिल आ गया सुन जरा नाड़ी सुन जरा कहे क्या मेरी चूड़ियां नागिन बन बन के डसती है मुझको अब ये दूरियां
ये मजबूरियां है बस कुछ ही साल की लेके आऊंगा तेरे घर में तो एक दिन पालकी
नीला गगन होगा सच्चा बंधन होगा अपना मिलन होगा मन को हो तू ही भा गया नैनों
अरे नैनों में सपना सपनों में सजनी सजनी पे दिल आ गया कि सजनी पे दिल आ गया
Welcome back, and we have had a very, very interesting, insightful and informative discussion with Sandeep, and it's just been really great to talk about how we can sort of manage and reduce our stress levels, but, you know, not feeling ashamed, not feeling embarrassed if you're feeling stressed or you know, you feel your anxiety levels are increasing, and learning how to sort of manage and take better care of ourselves, doing things that we enjoy, you know, finding something time for you that you can do whilst you can relax at the same time, and learning how to kind of say no if things are getting too much and not feeling bad. You know, we feel bad for saying no. Perhaps, you know, learning, I'll do it later, or I've got a few things on at the moment, perhaps I can do it later on. But it's been really interesting, Sandeep, and thank you for joining us today. You know, if someone wanted to find out more about the work you're doing, I mean, you do a lot and there's a lot of things you're doing, but you're such a great advocate. You know, if people wanted to find you on social media, perhaps, you know, what links can you share?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. Real honour and privilege. So thank you. And it's a great topic to be discussing it, especially with Stress Awareness Month. In terms of social media, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm at Sandeep Saib, all one word. Twitter, the same as well. And Facebook, Sandeep Saib 29. And Instagram, Sandeep Saib. And also, I've got my personal website as well, so feel free to reach out there as well. So, yes, that's where you'll find me on majority, if not all, the social media platforms. So hopefully we can connect and reach out and talk more.
Yeah, and just for clarity, I mean, how are we spelling Sandeep Saib?
So Sandeep Saib, so it's SANDEEP, and then surname SAIB.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on BHF Radio. I'm sure our listeners would have found this very interesting. And, you know, if you are listening and you can relate, you know, please do reach out, you know, talk to your friends or family, or like Sandeep shared, you know, Samaritans. There are lots of different places where you can seek help or advice, or just someone to talk to. So thank you, Sandeep. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And I'll be back next Saturday, which is the 10th of April, and we will be discussing a different topic. So until then, stay safe, stay well. Remember, it's the rule of 6, only outside, no indoors, and a maximum of 2 households. So take care, God bless, and speak to you all next Saturday. We're going to leave you with our final track, which is I Am a Disco Dancer, the 2.0 version from Tiger Shroff.
ये लोग कहते हैं मैं तब भी गाता था जब बोल पाता नहीं था ये पाँव मेरे चलना आता नहीं था हो नगमों की मस्ती है मेरी जवानी में है डांस मेरे लहू की रवानी में यहाँ मेरी हार यहाँ मेरी जीत ओ यही मेरे गीत तो झूमो तो झूमो तो नाचो हाँ मेरे साथ नाचो गाओ I am a disco dancer. Hey, I am a disco dancer.
Disco never dies.